And this next story I've got from is from a bit farther afield. It's from the place where the trees end and the snow starts. It's from North Norway. Halvor was a trapper, and he spent most of his time on that edge of the tree line, getting animals and taking them back and selling them for meat and for fur. But this was special this year. This year was the King of Norway's birthday. What could he get for the king? He was out pondering this one day when he came across a polar bear. Well, to be exact, and I'm sure you would want me to be exact, it was a polar cub. His mother had been killed and she was left stranded, and he felt really sorry for her. And then he thought, well, actually, what a nice present to take for the king. I bet nobody else is going to take him a polar bear. So he tied a string round the polar bear and he started to walk back, away from the snow and through the forest. But it was getting near Christmas. In fact, it was Christmas Eve. And the weather had turned quite nasty. And the snow was whistling through the trees and the wind was biting on his cheeks. And I thought, you know, I'm not going to be able to make it. If we stay out here tonight, Bear, that must be goners. So you can imagine his relief when he saw lights from a little cottage in the woods. Oh, they'll give us a bed for the night, or at least we can lie on the floor near the fire. Nobody's going to refuse us that on Christmas Eve, are they?
No.
Thank you. So he goes to the door and he bangs on the door and nobody replies. And he can hear muttered voices inside and he can see shadows in the frosted up windows, and he banged again. I thought, Bear, we just can't stay out here, it's getting colder, I'm going to lose my feet, it's so cold. So he banged and he banged and he banged, and eventually the door clicked open. Yes, what do you want? Oh, please, sir, you've got to give us shelter for the night. It's absolutely dreadful out here. Can we not just sit by your fire and warm up? And please, just a morsel of bread so we don't starve. I've been delayed getting back to my cabin. I'm not going to make it. And he just went on and on and on until... And he opened the door and allowed them in. The fire was roaring. Oh, it was so lovely. Halvor sat. Oh, that's good. Now the bear, you have to remember, was only a cub. And a big warm fire, she just curled up and went fast asleep. Halvor looked at the gentleman and said, Why won't you let us in? You look so sad. The children are all cowering in the corners, and your wife looks as pale as the snow outside. What's going on? It's Christmas Eve. It's a happy time. It's a time for celebration and enjoying. And not here. It's not. Why? Every Christmas Eve, we set out our Christmas Eve midnight feast. And every year, as the last plate is put onto the table, arrive the trolls. Now, over this last few years, Pixar and Disney have managed to make trolls look cute, and pink and blue and yellow, and sing pop songs. But these weren't those kind of trolls. These were original northern Norwegian trolls. Now I'm sure you've all got an idea in your head of what it means to be ugly. And it's not PC anymore to say that somebody's ugly. But these trolls were ugly. And it was all the badness, naughtiness and nastiness inside that was showing on the outside. And they had long noses and pointy ears and walked with hairs and greasy hair and crooked teeth and smelly breath and tails. And some had short, picky noses, and some were little and some were tall. And they came in and they came down the chimney. They came up through the floorboards. They came through the windows and under the door. They arrived. And they picked up the turkey and they played football with it. And they blew bubbles in the jelly. And they paddled in the custard. And they picked up the sausages and used them as darts. And they smeared food all over the place. And they laughed and they screeched. And their noise was absolutely awful. And Halvor just sat by the fire. And the bear curled up and slept. Now trolls, being trolls, are far too naughty to go to school. So they weren't right well educated. And in a troll's mind, something curled up by the fire must be a cat. This is going to be fun. Troll picked up a sausage. Hey, kitty, kitty. Hey, kitty, kitty, do you want a sausage? Pulled it away. Hey, kitty, kitty, do you want a sausage? Pulled it away. Well, he did this several times, and eventually the poor bear could not take it any longer. So she picked up her head, and she stretched her paws. Now, I did say that she was a polar bear cub, but you have to remember that polar bears are jolly big creatures, and their cubs are not so little either. She stretched up onto her back legs, and she roared. And then she looked at the one troll who'd been teasing her, and she roared again. Oh, they couldn't cope with this. They went up the chimney and down through the floorboards and out through the door and across through the windows, and they just ran and ran and ran. Halvor went and knocked on the door of the bedroom and invited the family out and said, "It's okay, they've gone. They've gone." "Oh, are you sure?" Yes, don't worry. I don't think you'll be bothered by them anymore." And the next morning, Halvor and the bear set off to the king's palace, and the family never saw him again. And they didn't see the trolls again, except for the next December, when the father was out in the wood and he was chopping trees, and he heard, I know, you still got that cat." Yeah. And she's bigger than she was last year. And in fact, she's had 7 kittens since then, and each one of them is bigger than the rest. Would you like to come and have a look? No, it's all right, I'm not bothering you anymore. And strangely enough, they never did.